We're back here, guys, on a fantastic Friday right here on the Now Morning Show. Now, in this time, this day and age, everything has gone online, almost everything at least, and no better time than now. And one such thing that has gone online is the TTFF, the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. To chat with me about that this morning is Mariel Brown, who is the Interim Executive Director of Filmco. Mariel, good morning.
Hi, morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, the TTFF has quite a legacy, and like everything else, it has had to change this year so that it can, really adapt to the changes and the times that we are in now. Tell us about, the transition from what we know the TTFF to be to a virtual festival.
Well, the great thing about TTFF is at its heart, it's about sharing films with audiences. And you can share films with audiences at physical screenings, and you can share films with audiences online. So in a way, the sort of shift, we're lucky because we are one of the businesses, one of the kinds of organizations. We offer a kind of service that can go online. And so that has been a real blessing to us. But, the interesting thing is that you think that it's going to be easier than putting on a physical festival. But when you have something online, we're working with 130 filmmakers in the Caribbean and around the world. And suddenly, instead of organizing, let's say, 20 question and answer sessions, we're organizing 100 question and answer sessions.
Yeah.
Because we're online, it means that anyone, anywhere in the world can participate in our workshops and Q&As and things like that. It also means, which is super, that anyone in the Caribbean, in the English-speaking Caribbean, can watch the films, because the region that we're geo-blocked for is for the entire English-speaking Caribbean. So that's really, really nice. It's just that it's going to be just a really different kind of experience. And we're really hoping that people will continue to engage with the festival, and our traditional audiences will watch the films online. These are films that you're not going to see anywhere else. And if you are going to see them, you're not going to see them for a long time. So I think I'm really hoping that, we've put a lot of work into this. We are partnering with a New Zealand company called Shift 72. That actually does they have their workers shot through the ceiling in the last 6 months because suddenly every film festival is going online. And they handle like Cannes and Sundance and things like that. So we feel like it can, that they can handle what we need to be able to provide audiences with, which is the ability for people anywhere in the Caribbean to stream films simultaneously. So so it's been a lot of work, a lot of learning. Our little team has worked really, really hard to try and kind of adapt quickly and understand the technology and figure out how to communicate that understanding to other people. And we're still doing it. We're still pushing. We're still trying to reach our audiences to make sure that they know that we're happening, and that we're happening online, and they can watch everything at the comfort and safety of their homes,
Yeah, definitely. And now, were there any major challenges that, you would have met in this transition from being a physical celebration or festival rather to going online? Any major things that stand out to you off the top of your head?
I do want to say that we really wanted to support Movietown. And that is because, if you're a filmmaker or a cinema lover, there's a real concern right now that cinemas are not going to be able to survive the pandemic. And so we really, really wanted to be able to support Movietown, and we had programmed 2 days of screenings at Movietown, even when we knew that the festival was going to be primarily online. We wanted to support Movietown. We wanted Trinidad and Tobago filmmakers to be able to share their films in front of live audiences at Movietown, because that's as a filmmaker myself, that's a really special experience.
Yeah,
to really watch your film with an audience of your fellow countrymen.
On
and
the
to
big
speak to
screen.
them after your film about it and to chat with people. That is something very, very special. And so we were kind of holding on, hoping. And even when the government, so our printed guide actually mentioned 2 days of screenings at Movietown. So like one challenge is having made that decision and now with the restrictions being reimposed to some extent, sort of having to go back and reverse everything. Unfortunately, we can't do that on our printed guide because it's already printed.
Right.
So we're just trying to make sure we communicate that in our website, etc., that we weren't able to have the Movietown screenings. And it's disappointing for us as a festival. It's disappointing the filmmakers, but they understand, they really understand. And the good thing was that either way, with Movietown considered or without Movietown, we had programmed all the films apart from the experimental films, which I'll explain in a minute. All the films are going to be online anyway. The only films that are going to be happening in person are sort of, we consider more works of art. They're experimental, avant-garde video works, and they are going to be displayed at Medulla Art Gallery in Woodbrook. But we will be following guidelines, so no more than 5 people there, masks have to be worn, etc., etc. So our volunteers are being prepared for that. And those works can be viewed every day. They basically, you engage with the experimental works in the way that you engage with a work of art. So it's you kind of walk into the space and you look around and you watch what's happening and then you leave. But yeah, so I think the shifting, the not knowing what would actually be happening was really, and sort of having to plan for a sort of variety of eventualities.
Yeah, that's right. Plan
Was
B, C,
very
D.
difficult. Say again?
I said that's right. Plan. You have to have a plan B, C, plan D as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, in these times that we're facing. Now, who are some of the filmmakers, or rather, what are some of the films we can look forward to from the region?
So one of the nice things that we did this year, which the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival has been doing for several years, and it's happening with the transfer of ministries as well. So obviously, prior to the election, our line ministry was, one of our line ministries was the Ministry of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, and now it's the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts. Right. So one of the nice things that we have been doing with the ministry and the culture division is we would have 2 days of patriotism screenings at 1 day of patriotism screenings at Movietown, which was all Trinidad and Tobago films all day. And so what we've done here in terms of the online festival is we've created what we call Love TNT screenings. And so those are happening in bundles. So we have 3 blocks of Love TNT screenings, which happen over 3 different days. So in there you'll find young up-and-coming filmmakers who have made some really great work. So the Love TNT blocks, I think, are going to be really hugely popular. We've got a young filmmaker called Tracy Hutchings who's done a film called The COVID Chronicles, where during lockdown in Trinidad, he used his phone and started recording his experiences and the experiences of his friends who are all online. So that was his sort of lived experience of the lockdown. We've got a film by Shari Petty it's called Jump, and it's a social program that took place at the Big Black Box in Woodbrook, where a whole bunch of kids and young people were taught parkour. So that's pretty cool. We've got a film by Mikel Galofre called I Don't Call It Ghetto, which is also wonderful. So we've got some really fabulous Trinidad and Tobago films. An up-and-coming filmmaker from Trinidad that I think people should really look at and keep in their minds and watch his work is Akel Charles. His film is called Get Free this year. And he's young, but got an interesting point of view and an interesting perspective in terms of filmmaking. And then we've also got loads of great other films from around the Caribbean. two films that I'm particularly looking forward to from Jamaica. One is called Yellow Girl and Me, and the other one is called Unbroken. And then just some phenomenal films from the Dominican Republic, from Cuba, basically from all over the Caribbean.
Well, I'm becoming excited about that, and we need to know how we gain access to this now. So quickly tell us dates, how to register, where to register as well.
Sure. Okay, so you register at online.ttfilmfestival.com. Yeah. And it's basically you set up an account like you would for Netflix or anything else. You set up an account and you can browse through every day. We have, when we screened at Movie Town and at cinemas, there'd always be blocks of films. And so we're doing exactly the same thing. There are blocks. And so we're releasing 5 to 6 blocks of films every day online. The films will be available for 24 hours from the day of release, from the moment of release. Yeah.
Right.
And so you have up to 24 hours to watch the films. And so basically what you do is you can buy your tickets in advance. You can buy them on the day as well. You register at online.ttfilmfestival.com. You look at the bundles, you figure out what films you want to watch. You click on each bundle. It directs you to rent.
Right.
You enter your credit card details, etc. And then on the day of the release, there it is in your library to watch. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Yeah, it is simple.
You also have payment options for people who don't have credit cards or don't feel comfortable paying with credit cards. They can come in and pay in our office at TT Film. At 22 Jerningham Avenue in Belmont. And we also
Mariel,
offer,
we do have a sharp cut for the news at 7 o'clock. So I'm going to have to say with that one, thank you so much. Registration is as easy as can be. And again, you can go on the website and find out more. But I want to thank you so much for joining us and giving us this information, Mariel. All right, so I've been chatting there with Mariel Brown, who is the Interim Executive Director of FilmCo.